Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for tuning in. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to hack your health, the secrets of your gut. Now, this video is basically my review of a documentary. If you don't know, I think earlier this year or this year, Netflix released a documentary on gut microbiome, and of course you know that it was all the rave of the health and wellness community and the health conscious friends like you and me, and I had time to watch it, and this video is basically going to be a collection of things that I learned or slash a summary of the documentary. In case if you don't have the time to watch it, then yeah, stick around and I'm going to be telling you guys all that I learned from the documentary. It was so juicy and so well done, like chef's kiss. So let's just get right into it. I had a few things that I gleaned from the video and I'm going to be discussing all of that in this video. So stay tuned if you want to know how to hack your health, aka biohacking, I believe, and the secrets of your gut and the way that you can utilize your gut microbiome in order to heal yourself or at least give yourself a fighting chance. My name is Chelsea, aka Sugar International. Funny story about how that name came about, but I'm a final year medical student and I love all things fitness, nutrition and health, hence me being a doctor. And yeah, I study, and these are the things that I learned from my study. I tell myself that I'm studying when I'm watching health documentaries, but anyways, let's just get right into the video. So the first thing that they established in this video is that your gut microbiome is so important when it comes to the pathogenesis of autoimmune diseases, mental health problems, and also when it comes to weight management. So the video opens up with six or five different characters with different sort of illnesses, chronic illnesses or disorders, things that are just wrong with them that seem to stem from the gut. There was a particular black lady, I'm black, that's why I took notice of her. She has been trying to lose weight for the longest time, but she always loses weight and then gains back a lot more, and then loses and gains back a lot more. And she felt she felt really helpless in the situation. There was also another guy. He was a Chinese competitive eater, I believe, and there was another lady. She said she had orthorexia. There was another one with chronic gut pain, and whatever she ate, she would develop pain and stuff like that. And yeah, okay, I think there were like four or so. But yeah, this they basically set up the premise that different disorders have their pathology in the gut, and that the gut and the brain have a very unique relationship that constitutes the gut-brain axis. Now, they basically went on this huge research and they collected different stool samples from different people, both from urban dwellers, rural dwellers, different races of people, to assess the kind of microbacteria that they will see in their poop. Like, I'm sure it wasn't the prettiest of experiments, and I just can't believe how hard they worked on this, like touching poop and all of that. But yeah, so what did they find in this experiment? If you see me looking down, I wrote down my findings in my notes. So what did they find out in these experiments? The first thing they found out by collecting people's poop is that rural dwellers have a more diverse microbiome, which means that they had some microbiome that the ultra processed food eaters or those in the civilized world, aka city dwellers, just didn't have. And in fact, they identified some microbiome that are soon going extinct, and they hypothesized the reason. So the reason is that those who eat ultra processed foods, like foods that have been so refined that their fiber content has been taken out and some of their nutritional value has been depleted and replaced synthetically, since there's no fiber, then there are some certain type of gut microbiome that just wouldn't survive. So that's why rural dwellers are different from urban dwellers. And also they found out that because city dwellers tend to have gone through more cycles of taking antibiotics in general, and then sanitation, you know, everything has to be spick and span, then that is why they tend to develop a much less diverse community of gut microbiome. Then another way to think about it is not that one certain bacteria confers bad prognosis or means that, oh, my gut is ruined, or not having another one means that your gut is ruined. But they found out that the more gut microbiome that a person had, then that was a better predictor of health. So it's more about how diverse is your microbiome, because if you have different microbiome, then you have different soldiers to help you fight against, you know, different things that your gut might throw your way. So yes, that's what they found out with the poop experiment. They found out that rural dwellers had different gut microbacteria, and in fact some gut microbacterium was going extinct. And they also found out that diverse is much better than, let's say, having one particular one. And if you're health conscious, maybe if you're on a weight management journey, let's say you're trying to lose weight, it's also important to note that they found some bacteria tend to confer a propensity to add weight. I think that's the Prevotella species. I will write it on the screen. But yeah, so if people have more of this bacteria, it means that they tend to absorb more calories from their food and therefore gain more weight from their food. Now that we've established what the situation is, I kind of want to go over the disadvantages of having a bad gut microbacteria, and then contrast it with the good gut microbacteria, and then finally say what we can do about it, because this is not a pessimistic channel. This channel is here to give hope. So yeah, so the first thing that you noticed that was associated with a less diverse microbiome, like I already mentioned, is the weight gain. People who have, I think one of the characters had Prevotella bacteria. I will insert the clips, and that confers a propensity to add weight. So that means that those who have more of Prevotella species in their guts tend to, one, absorb more calories from their diet, two, tend to have higher hyperglycemic spikes, and that's not to say that hyperglycemic, like, please don't chase hyperglycemic spikes, but I'm just telling you what Prevotella does. And three, also makes them more likely to add weight. So that was what they found out in the black character that was in this documentary. The second thing they found out that was associated with bad microbacteria is the feedback mechanism of when you eat, like saying that you're full. So the gut and the brain interact when we eat, so that when the gut has had a feel of has had enough volume or enough nutrients, it sends a feedback to the brain, and that's why we get disgusted with the idea of any more food. So that was the problem of the competitive overeater, the Japanese guy, was that this axis or this relationship was dysregulated because his gut microbiome was thrown off by eating too many sausages. The third thing that can happen when your gut microbiome is dysregulated is mental health disorders. So there's a particular character, the one with chronic gut pain. She found out that when she took fecal transplants from her relatives who had mental health disorders, she tended to develop more depression or more anxiety than she was used to, which led to the postulate that it's possible that our gut microbiome plays a role in how anxious you are, whether you're depressed or not, or how you handle stressful situations. And then when she switched back to fecal transplants from another acquaintance of hers who did not have mental disorders, then all of a sudden, her mental health depression was fine, and she was living life. So that's also one of the postulates, that having a diverse gut microbiome makes you more able to handle stress and anxiety and keeps depression and anxiety at bay. Now, the last thing that I wanted to touch on with gut microbiome is, so the issue of the last lady that had orthorexia is because she doesn't have a diverse gut microbiome to handle, the different nutritious foods that that she's eating. That's why she has this orthorexia, and she feels like, oh my god, if I have diarrhea then I will throw up. We all know people like that who have like a thousand allergies who are soy free, gluten free, grain free, everything free. What can we do then to improve our gut microbiome? Stay tuned, because we're going to be talking about it next. So what's the solution? This is a hopeful channel, so we're going to talk about the solutions that they found out from their research. Now, spoiler alert, the solution is not pills, it's not probiotic pills, even though those do have their time and place, and I will recommend, I'll give my own recommendations as to probiotics. And it's also not yogurt or kefir, even though those also have their time and place. So the first thing that they recommended is to eat more of fiber-rich foods. And basically, most 99.9% of fiber-rich foods are plants. So that means no more being afraid of carbs, no more being afraid of starch and potatoes and rice. So what they recommend is eating a whole plant-based diet. Now, try and put more plants on your plate. Specifically, they recommended 20 to 30 plants on your plate per week. And that will give you, I think they recommend about 40 grams of fiber. So that will give you your recommended amount of fiber that you're supposed to be eating per week in order to feed this gut microbiome and let it have a diverse, let it grow, let different colonies grow, so that you're better able to handle your food and stress, and etc. and etc. They did talk about a fecal transplant, actually, so that's one of the things that is in the works. There have been trials on rats who ate, fecal who had fecal transplants from skinny people and then became skinny, and then who had implants, fecal implants from fat people and then became on the bigger side. So that's still an interesting research that they're preferring as a solution. So what do we have available? We have a fiber, like I said, and people also love to talk about kefir and yogurt for building your gut microbiome. Also sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is a vegan fermented food, and kimchi, so those fermented foods are great, but the kind of bacteria that grows, let's say, in yogurt, it's not necessarily the kind of bacteria that will grow in your gut, because your gut is not made of yogurt, and bacteria is extremely sensitive to the environment that is being cultured in. So even though those foods are great to eat, but they don't tell the full story. If you look at the back of most yogurts, you see lactobacillus acidophilus, I think, and bulgaricus. Those are the two ones, and then thermophilus. Those are the ones that we commonly see, and those ones grow in yogurts, right? But there is no evidence that they would actually colonize our gut, seeing as our gut is not the same medium that they grew in. So it's still kind of shaky, and nobody really knows for sure if those organisms are able to colonize. So then the solution would be probiotics, because you can take samples from the human gut and culture the organisms that are actually there, and so then people would be able to take it as a pill, right? And yes, that is great, and it does work in the short term, but without constantly feeding that bacteria with fiber-rich foods, the bacteria may not fully colonize the gut, and thereby changing your gut and changing the environment in there. If you are going to take a probiotic, make sure you're also taking a fiber-rich diet. So you can't say, oh, I'm going low carb, or I'm not going to eat well, and then I'm going to take a probiotic and everything will be fine. It probably won't work, because the bacteria will not fully colonize that environment. So I would recommend, if you do decide to take a probiotic, also take fiber-rich foods with it to help to feed that gut microbiome, to make them strong enough to colonize your gut. What have I said so far? I've said that the gut microbiome is super important in the pathogenesis of autoimmune diseases, mental health disorders, and even in weight management practices. I've also said that a diverse gut microbiome is the key to health, and I've listed ways that we can improve this gut microbiome by eating whole, unprocessed, plant-based foods, and to aim to put about 20 to 30 plants on our plates every week. And I've also given my recommendations for supplementing yogurt and probiotic intake with equally fiber-rich foods. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of science-based content, then please let me know. Yeah, I decided to wear my coat, so I don't know, do you guys like the coat or do you not like the coat? So follow if you like science-based weight management, health and wellness tips, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.